More breaking news coming in on this news story. In fact, sources telling CNN News 18 that the focus of the multi-party delegation, which will be visiting various capital cities across the globe, will be only on Pakistan's hand in terror repeatedly and why Operation Sindoor was necessary. There's going to be a multi-point agenda in terms of why India was provoked by Pakistan, why Operation Sindoor was even needed. Thirdly, why India may need to do this again if another act of terrorism is conducted by Pakistan, and that India had carried out its operation specifically on the terror hideouts. I take those breaking inputs with Pallavi, who's joining me on the broadcast as well. Pallavi, take us through the agenda of this multi-party delegation. Crucial points to be countered, given that a host of people, whether from Pakistan or even the US president himself, have really not done much good when it comes to shaping the global narrative at the moment.
See, Akanksha, this is a part of the larger battle, I think, which India is fighting. And this is the propaganda battle which has been pushed in by Pakistan. And Pakistan is very clearly, Akanksha, playing the victim card. They're trying to project themselves as a country which has been battered by India militarily, economically, the Indus Water Treaty, and so on and so forth. And it's not the first time. And we are talking about a time when I remember doing a delegation from India was also sent, led by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, to the UN. And there were many opposition leaders. So why is it that there is a multi-party delegation which has been spoken about? This is an effective counter strategy to Pakistan's misinformation campaign, and who better than all political parties, especially in the opposition, because Akansha, it adds on to the credibility. It sends a message to the world that India is speaking with one voice despite different political parties and ideologies. Unlike Pakistan, we are a democracy, and this is the beauty of democracy, that when it comes to national interest and nationalism, we all speak in one voice. So very quickly, just to add on to what you were saying, what is going to be the single point agenda of this delegation? One, to tell the countries that today it's happening to India, it can happen to you. That link to Pakistan and Pakistan's Lashkar-e-Toiba and their links to, say, Hamas, and to make the larger point, the London Bridge bombing, the Moscow theater bombing, all of them have somewhere got a thread which links to Pakistan. So if you don't understand our issue, then tomorrow it's going to come back to hit you, and it has been hitting you. So the point which is going to be made by the delegation is Operation Sindoor was provoked by Pakistan. Operation Sindoor can happen again if there's yet another act of terror, and our targets were only terror hideouts.
Important to also refer to a bit of history, Pallavi, at the moment, given that in 1994, the delegation that went under P.V. Narasimha Rao's government, and then in 2008 under Manmohan Singh's government, both these delegations did meet a lot of success, because in 1994, the agenda was to stop that resolution against India, which was to do with human rights in Kashmir. And in 2008, the agenda was to crack down on Pakistan post the 26/11 terror attacks and get them on the FATF grey list, which did happen eventually. So should India shelve hopes now?
But I mean, I think there has been an area of concern about the kind of misinformation campaign which is being rushed by Pakistan. And, you're noticing the kind of actions we're talking about against Turkey, for example, because I think the point which India would also want to make to the world, Akanksha, is that India speaks in one voice. This is a time when India really needs to speak in one voice. And we are not like Pakistan, which is in a state of political disarray. And over here, national interest. And, we've been speaking about it. This government has got unlikely ambassadors from different quarters, whether it's been an Owaisi who says that, all the terror hideouts of Pakistan needs to be ended, whether it's Shashi Tharoor. He's breached the party line repeatedly in terms of even on the US mediation issue. However, that's not going to be a part of the topic of the delegation which is going there, Akanksha. But remember, Shashi Tharoor has been towing a line which is very different from that of the Congress party. And he has said this: for me, the nation comes first. The Congress, BJP comes later. This is a time when we need to be together. So, the choice is going to be very interesting. One of them, of course, Ghulam Nabi Azad. He himself comes in from Jammu Kashmir. He has been a former chief minister of the valley. He's also got a lot of experience. He's one who suffered it. Remember, he has been inflicted with terror attacks in his residence when he was a chief minister. That's going to be one important membership. Owaisi, who has often been called as the B team of the BJP. But here he stood by the government on the grounds that he's an Indian. He also represents a very powerful, aggressively, and he's also a barrister, so he knows the law. Shashi Tharoor, of course, requires no introduction. He is a former diplomat, has been with the UN,
Right.
and he's clearly had put himself and the country first before the Congress.
It would be very interesting to see if Farooq Abdullah and, of course, Salman Khurshid also make it to that delegation, given that they had made India's case at the UNHRC back in 1994. So we'll await more names from you, Pallavi. Many thanks to you for bringing us all those latest inputs. Let me quickly also bring in Siddhant Mishra, who's joining in on that news story. Siddhant, take us through the larger, greater messaging behind this move, because remember, India wants to diffuse the message that this is not about India-Pakistan tensions. It's about terrorism being sponsored by the Pak establishment.
Well, yes, that's right. And in fact, Akanksha, the unity that India has witnessed in last 2 weeks after Pahalgam attack, perhaps has become a strength of the country, and this could be perhaps one of the reasons that government has decided to send all-party delegation to various capitals across the globe. In fact, Akanksha, already one-to-one briefings are being done by Indian officials. In fact, we only reported a week back that how right after Operation Sindoor, India in New York, India in Washington, India in London, perhaps, are meeting the representatives of the host governments, the social media influencers, journalists. Perhaps one-to-one briefings are being done to expose Pakistan, and perhaps also to tell this to word that how India's actions were measured, controlled, and responsible action. So that was the message which India was sending a week back. Now perhaps we are getting to know. In fact, this is what Aurunima and Pallavi both are reporting for us, that that Government of India is planning an all-party delegation which will be sent to various capitals across the world, because it is very important to highlight that how India is a victim of cross-border terrorism, how groups like TRF have been used by Lashkar-e-Taiba to do proxy warfare in India, and how India's Operation Sindoor was not out of vengeance, perhaps was to establish deterrence, and that should be the message which should go out to the world. And in the same series, we have been told that for the outreach purpose, multi-party delegation is being planned. In fact, Ministry of External Affairs is tight-lipped on this particular announcement. At this point in time, we'll try to get more details from them. But indeed, this is going to be a very, very significant step taken by the Government of India. Perhaps this would bring, narrative more in India's favor.
Many thanks to you, Siddhant, for bringing us all those latest inputs. With that, let's